All right, thank you for this comment. So you're saying that Mormons are not Christian because you believe that God came down on earth and lived as a man. I mean, this isn't that like the whole concept of Christianity, that God came down on earth and lived as a man? Isn't that what you believe? I mean, that's what I believe. And that Joseph Smith taught in the King Follett Discourse that God came down on earth and lived on earth as a mortal, as it teaches in Mosiah. And now Abinadi said unto them, I would that ye should understand that God himself shall come down among the children of men, and shall redeem his people. And because he dwelleth in the flesh, he shall be called the Son of God. And having subjected the flesh to the will of the Father, being the Father and the Father because he was conceived by the power of God, and the Son because of the flesh, thus becoming the Father and Son. And they are one God, yea, the very eternal Father of heaven and earth. And thus the flesh becoming subject to the Spirit, or the Son of the Father, being one God, suffereth temptation, and yieldeth not to the temptation, but suffereth himself to be mocked and scourged and cast out and disowned by his own people. And after all this, after working many mighty miracles among the children of men, he shall be led, even as Isaiah said, as a sheep before the shearer is dumb, so he opened not his mouth. Yea, even so shall he shall be led and crucified and slain, the flesh becoming subject even unto death, the will of the Son being swallowed up in the will of the Father. And thus God breaketh the bands of death, having gained victory over death, giving the Son power to make intercession for the children of men. So God comes down, lives on earth as a man. And I think he says Joseph Smith taught that God the Father has a physical body and was once a man who progressed to godhead, a radical departure from Christian orthodoxy. So Jesus comes down on the earth, and then he ascends up and becomes one with his Father. He even prays, in the John 17, that he and his Father can become one, and that we can become one with him and his Father. I think this is Christian orthodoxy, that God came down and lived on the earth as a man and then ascended back up with his Father again. Should also say, too, that Joseph Smith is a human. Joseph Smith is fallible, and Joseph Smith is able to have opinions. And not everything that Joseph Smith ever said, or any other church leader, is church doctrine. We believe that humans are able to have opinions, and that when God calls them to be president of the church, that he doesn't suddenly make them infallible and omniscient, and that they don't have any agency to have any of their own opinions anymore. They still have their personal opinions. They still have their personal viewpoints. They're still fallible. They don't know everything. And so if Joseph Smith taught something in the King Follett Discourse that's incorrect, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints doesn't accept that as being correct, it's not doctrine for the church. So just something to be wary of. Now, another thing to add in here is the concept of speculation. So there are things that we don't understand, we don't know. One concept here that Mormons speculate about is eternity. What are we going to do in eternity? What has God has done for eternity? What was it like before all this stuff? And they speculate and they have ideas. They think, what if God, started out as something less than he is right now, and he like slowly learned and became what he is now? And it's like super speculative. Like, we don't really know. Okay, like we're just literally shooting arrows in the dark here. And Joseph Smith shared some ideas and beliefs that he had about some of it. This was pretty interesting stuff. It's pretty cool speculation, but it's not, my knowledge is not a revelation. It's not in the scripture. So yeah, it just kind of is what it is. Be careful when you hear things like, look, here's this quote, or that quote, or whatever. So-and-so said this, so-and-so. Just because you're able to quote something doesn't mean that that's church doctrine. A lot of times it's just speculation.